A pleasant day everyone. I am Cyril Kanut M. Kamayang and today I am going to discuss the speech or language impairments. The speech and language impairments are communication disorders where it adversely affects the child's ability to be able to properly talk, read, write, and even understand. Now, this particular impairment is divided into two categories, which are the language impairment and the speech impairment. Under the speech impairments, we have three disorders that belong here. We have the articulation disorders, the fluency disorders, and the voice disorders. So when we talk about articulation disorders, from the term itself articulation, this is the difficulty of a children in terms of producing a speech sound or a particular speech that would lead to an error to it. Now, this is due to the fact that the anatomy or the physiological features in let's just say in the mouth area in this region, which is responsible for supporting the speech production, has a limitations into it. It could either be sa muscular or in the skeletal or even the neuromuscular support itself. Now, under this particular disorders, it has its symptoms, which is 4 core symptoms based on what I have researched online, which is termed as SODA. S stands for substitution, O for omission, D for distortion, and A for addition. Now, this is important because we need to view this in terms of early intervention. This SODA is present, or if present rather, to the children in terms of how he or she is going to deliver or produce that speech sound. Another one is the fluency disorders. When we mean by fluency, it pertains to the difficulty of the children in terms of producing the proper rhythm when speaking a particular language. So when we talk about the rhythm, this is the naturally occurring pattern, the stresses that we apply, and even the timing that we use in a particular spoken language, which really shapes how sentences are formed and being spoken. Now, we have two forms or the common fluency disorders. We have the stuttering and the cluttering. So the first one is all about stuttering. This is a rapid repetition of the vowels or consonants, which are the first letters of a word, phrase, or sentence. Now, common symptoms would include blockage or yung block, where this is the inability of the student to speak, where the mouth is positioned to speak but no sounds can be heard or produced. Another one is prolongation of the sound and at the same time repetitions. Another one is there is a physical tension, like for example shaking of the lips, tightening of the jaws when he or she tries to speak. Another one is cluttering. Cluttering is the excessively fast and jerky speech. So students who possess this kind of fluency disorder may have the following symptoms. The first one is rapid speech rate, where it leads to difficulty of understanding what he or she is saying. Then word merging. This is the blending of words together. Another one is omission. This is the cutting or removal of a particular word or syllable in a sentence. And lastly is disorganized thought or disorganized speech, in a sense that you will observe that there is a poor construction of sentences where fillers are present muchly, like the use of as an example. And lastly, you will observe that students or children have that mid-sentence revisions that are frequently occurring. Lastly, under the speech impairment is we have the voice disorders. So children or students who possess this type of disorder have a problem in terms of the quality or the use of their one's voice because of the presence of a particular disorder affecting their larynx or their voice box. So symptoms includes persistent hoarseness of their voice. The same time, there is a voice quality changes, vocal fatigue, effortful speech, a physical discomfort, and abnormal pitch or volume that is produced by the students or children. So let's proceed to the language impairments. So under this category, it has 5 key areas that we are going to talk about. First one is we have the phonological disorders. So this disorder pertains to the abnormal organization of the phonological system. By means of that, there is a problem in terms of utilizing a set of abstract sounds known as the phonemes, and at the same time the rules that governs in terms of appropriately combining these abstract sounds and utilizing this sound in a specific language. That would mean students or children who possess this type of disorder may have difference in terms of distinguishing a particular meaning in a specific language. At the same time, difference in terms of organizing sounds into syllables, and difference in terms of putting stress or intonations into a particular word, phrase, or sentences. That would mean students may be hard to understand or utilizing the sound in a specific language incorrectly. The second one is all about the morphological disorders. So this pertains to difficulties with the morphological inflection. Students or children who possess this kind of disorder happens to have a difficulty in terms of modifying a particular word into another form following a particular grammatical structure or rule without really changing the core meaning of that word, but only producing other forms of that word. Symptoms include consistent sound substitutions, omission of consonants, and simplifying words or syllables. So the third one is all about semantic disorders. So from the term semantic, this is the study of the meaning of a word, a phrase, or a sentence rather than the structure. So this focuses on the possibility that the student may have a poor vocabulary development, inappropriate use of word meanings, and or inability to comprehend word meanings. So students or children who possess this kind of disorders may have the following symptoms. First one is they have excessive use of indefinite references and non-specific terms. Another one is they have difficulty in terms of understanding multiple word meanings. Another one, they have restriction or they are limited in terms of word meanings. The fourth one is all about syntactic deficits. This pertains to students or children's difficulty in terms of acknowledging or acquiring the rules that govern a particular word order and other aspects of grammar such as the subject-verb agreement. Symptoms include verb tense errors, plural and possessive errors, limited grammatical markers, overgeneralization, and difficulties with derivational morphemes. Lastly, under the language impairments is we have the pragmatic difficulty. This pertains to student or learner or children's difficulty in terms of acknowledging or understanding and utilizing a specific language in various social contexts or events. Symptoms includes the following: students' ability to maneuver the conversation, topic maintenance, their contextual flexibility, their social interaction, and even their non-verbal communication. Both these impairments have an impact on learning. Now, despite that there is a small percentage of severe cases of these disorders to children, and it is mostly between mild to moderate, it is important to consider that communication and language skills is important for child's development. Now, with just these mild or moderate disorders or disturbances can already put significant impact in every aspect of the child's life. In the educational setting, this may lead for that children or students to be isolated from his or her fellow peers and even in its learning environment. In order for the educational institution to provide quality education for every student, even if the student have special needs, a collaboration between teachers and health professional is a must. So in this case, in the speech or language impairment, students who possess this type of impairments may need a team of multidisciplinary professionals, which includes a special education teacher, a general education teacher, and a speech language pathologist. The following below are the services that a speech language pathologist can provide for our students who needs to develop a effective communication skills. Basically, in order to effectively enhance the communication of children or students who have speech or language impairments, general education teachers and the speech language pathologists need to work together or collaborate with each other in order to create strategies in order to be able to achieve this kind of goal. Lastly, our multidisciplinary professional who are tasked in terms of helping students with speech and language impairments to learn effectively in class can use assistive technologies, which are divided into two areas. The first major type of assistive technology is through the use of computer software packages available. FirstWords is a language program which consists of various graphic representations that help students to learn in terms of developing their speech and language skills. As also, it has many applications or many interactive activities that can be done in order for those students who possess speech and language impairments to learn new words, sounds. The last area is all about the use of alternative or augmentative communication. AAC is important because it uses symbols, strategies, or sign languages that are suitable for those students who have speech and language impairments so that they are able to learn new things by means of, choosing objects or letting them choose this particular object present in that non-electronic communication board, and in order for them to know that so that they will effectively learn despite they have impaired oral motor skills. That's it, everyone, for today's discussion. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have learned something from this video.